Hello and welcome back. In this session, we will take a look at error handling. Error handling is also part of our flow control. Okay, in flow control, we have seen if else and switch statement. In error handling, we will look at try, catch, and finally block. And we will also look at throw. And finally, we will look at error objects. Okay, so first let us look at try, catch, and finally block. Okay, try is one block and catch is another block, finally is another block. Whatever the source code which can cause an error, that should be part of your try block, and the error handling part should be under your catch block. So let us look at it with an example. So let us open up Visual Studio Code and let me create a new file here called error handling.js. Let me define a variable here. Let num is equal to 10, for example. Okay, so let me also log this and type of num. Okay, so it's a number. Let me save this and execute this particular part first. Okay, it's of a type number. Now, as we know that a number doesn't have a method called uppercase. Okay, what we will do is num dot to uppercase. So this is the method we will try to call on this particular variable, which is of type number. Let us execute this and see. Okay, we got an error here. It says type error, num to upper is not a function. Okay, since we know that this particular code might cause an error, so we will put it under try block. Okay, and if there is any error here, so we will catch that error with error object, and here we will print our message uppercase to uppercase method is for string, and finally we will add this block as well. Okay, so this is again similar to if else. So it will follow this path. So it will try to execute the statements inside the try block, and if there is any error within that block, then the control will flow to catch block. Okay, and it will print this error message. Right now we know that there is no to uppercase for num. That is the reason we put that under try. So it will try to execute this particular statement within this block, and since this causes error, the execution will flow to catch and it will print this message. Okay, let me talk about finally block will always execute no matter whether there is any error or not. Okay, so let me repeat, finally block will always execute whether there is any error or not. Okay, so let us see that. Okay, let me execute this again. So it says to uppercase method is for string. So it tried to execute this statement, and this statement caused an error. So the execution flow moved to catch block, and it printed this to upper method is for string, and the finally gets executed. Okay, so let me change this to hello, and let me execute this again. Okay, now there is a to uppercase for string. Now this variable contains a string. Now there is a method called to uppercase which will convert this to uppercase. Since we are not printing it here, so it has already converted that to uppercase. So if I put console.log here, so it will print the uppercase. So let me execute this. Okay, so as you can see, now the type is of string, and string has got a method, and this executes correctly, so there is no error. That is the reason this block is skipped, and it will print finally executed. So as I said earlier, no matter whether this particular statement or the statements within the try block is executed correctly, or if there is any error, the finally block will always get executed. Okay, so let me go back to our original value here of 10. Okay, this is how we can use the try, catch block, and finally block. So under catch there is an error object. So error object has got two properties, name and message. So we will try to print that here. Okay, instead of to uppercase, what I will do is I will take this out, and I will put error and plus. So this is a string concatenation operator. So error, so which is the object. Okay, so let us see that now. Okay, so clear screen. Let me execute this again. Okay, now error. Okay, so this is this part here, and this is the name, and this is the message. We can also define our own error object. So let us define that by using throw. Okay, so what I will do here is, okay, so I will use if here, if type of num equals string, then only execute this. Else I'm going to define a new error object here. Okay, so to define a new error object, I will call it as my error is equal to new error. Okay, I've created a new object. Okay, my error dot name. Name is a property, so here I will give the property value as my. Okay, let us give this as custom error. and myAir dot message is equal to uppercase method is not applicable to number. Okay, so this is my custom error object. And finally I need to throw this error, throw my error. Okay, so this is how I have defined a new error object with my custom error name and message, and that is what I'm throwing it. Okay, so let me execute this. Okay, as you can see, if it is equals to string, then only it will go and get the uppercase. However, it is not. That is the reason it went to else statement. Okay, here I have created an error object with the custom error and custom message. And if you look at the error object here, now this error object contains the custom error and the custom message. Okay, so that is why you can see error has got custom error, to uppercase method is not applicable to a number here. Okay, so if I comment this out, then this catch block will not execute. Okay, so let me save this. Okay, now you can see there is no error message. It is because of this throw. So whenever it throws this error, it goes to this catch block and it will execute that particular statement within the catch block. And of course, the finally gets executed always. So this is how we can make use of try, catch, finally, and error object. One more thing to note here is we are throwing this error here. So in case of a method which has to return a particular error object, then instead of throw, we will use return. So we will return this object and throw it in the calling method. It is good to know that you need not have to throw it where we have this error. We can return it back to the calling method and throw it there. Okay, so that is also one more possibility. I hope this is clear. Thanks for watching.